Welcome to Programming 8086 Assembly in DosBox. This video is just a documentation of me programming because I'm learning assembly right now and I'm not an expert in it. I will link all of my resources though. You can look it up down in the description because I thought it's very helpful to know and it helped me a lot in the journey so far. In this video I will use the edit executable from the masm package and will use the nasm executable to assemble them into a .com file, which I will be then executing in DosBox. It's important to note that 8086 assembly is not the same as x86 assembly. x86 assembly is another version and looks a little different, especially the register names. Anyways, let's get into it. First I defined the stack size to be 256 bytes using the awk instruction. This way we'll have enough room to store the variables for both static strings and the user input. The user input is defined using the times keyword, which basically repeats whatever you defined the value to be in the given amount. So if we give 16, we'll have a 16 long empty string. Right here I had a smooth brain moment and read the hexadecimal value as a decimal value and wrote something completely wrong down about how many bytes I still have left in this stack. I mean, I fixed it, but embarrassing. After that though, it went smoothly and I wrote some test code to print strings, and I mainly just wanted to see if I still had memorized everything. After that I created an entry point to jump over all the variable declaration to start at the actual code definition and not just somewhere random in memory where I have defined all my variables, because otherwise it would go through all the stack variables and try to execute them as code, which obviously doesn't make sense. In case you're wondering how printing to the console works, it's actually really simple. The CPU has these registers and you use them for everything that happens in your program. So for example, to print something, you need to define certain values in these registers, and when you call an interrupt, the CPU looks at the interrupt code and then at the values you defined and thinks, hey, I know what to do, and does whatever these values stand for. To print something in 8086 assembly in DosBox, you need to set the AH register to the hex value 9 and load whatever you want to print into the register DX. When you then call interrupt hex21, you're all set and done and it will all be printed. After checking that it indeed does work, I use the instruction LEA or load effective address, what basically means we create a pointer to our string and store it in the register SI. Since I haven't used assembly much, I'm not sure if this is the standard or even if there is one, but considering the register name is source indexed register, I think it fits pretty well. I set up a loop using labels where I compare the input value to 13, which is the ASCII code, to the return key, and just jump to whatever label I need. If you know how pointers work, you should be able to understand what I'm doing, but in case you don't, just let me break it down for you. We set up the SI register to point to our empty string, but it doesn't just point anywhere, it points to the beginning of it. When I then append an input value, I overwrite whatever is written in this position. But if I then input another value without increasing the position, I of course write to the same position and overwrite whatever I just input there. After all of this, I simply write two print statements, one with the second string and one with the user input. In the next video I will be putting all of this logic into subroutines and call them and clean all of this code up, and maybe even in the end make a little game out of it. So yeah, I will be looking forward to the next video and see you then.